Talk about a video that when I saw it 5 years ago, it was shocking. I didn't agree with. I hate to say it, was against the professor, Dr. Umar Johnson, and his law school scholarly assessment of race and racism in the United States of America. 5 years ago was 2018. The world was a whole lot different in 2018 than it is today in 2023. And I'm just amazed at what it was like and what we've been through just in the last 5 years. In the last 5 years, 3 of the 5 years, we had COVID, which shut down the whole world. And people had lost jobs, millions of people died. And in the black 15% of the United States community, my little community, we had a large proponent of black people pass away due to that virus. I happened to be single and or breaking up with the girls I was dating and working from home, and so I was very blessed as well as I've dealt with some curses during that 5 year time, where I ended up working from home, getting very, very fat, ended up hurting my right knee, which now needs surgery. And so the working from home, which we all ended up having to work from home, opened the door to me being a person that ate and got fat, and I'm just amazed and I'm grateful that I'm now working hard to lose the weight now 5 years later, and eating a lot less, because diabetes was going to kill me. It killed my mom. It killed millions of black people across the board, and now I'm at a point in my life where I realize, fuck food, I'm going to live. But in the 5 years, as I watched this video, it was 18 minutes long. Dr. Umar Johnson came on this black man, Roland Martin show, who is a guy who went to Texas A&M University, became pledged Alpha Phi Alpha. He is a political speaker, and he went on CNN for many years and was disrespected by whites and never given any real opportunities. But remember, we're 15% of the population. But he is a very intelligent man, as you can see. He never ever got a show because the whites at power kicked him off of CNN. And for pretty much, I guess, 15 to 20 years, he had been kind of sitting on the sidelines until an advent came up called YouTube. Thank God for YouTube, which had always been here since 2004. But it wasn't until about 2016, the same time frame that this video was done, that people started having their own channels. He was working with TV One during this time, and this was before they kicked him off of TV One, and then he ended up now has a channel on YouTube, as well as billions of people have a channel now on YouTube, and billions of dollars is being made off of what we call content creating. And so all of this happened within the last 5 years. Yeah, in the last 5 years. And COVID had a huge part to play with it too. So here I am 5 years later, and I've got my YouTube channels, and I'm making this video right now that God will upload to my YouTube, and just to document the experience of what I, as African American, intelligent African American, experience, talking about the issues of what Dr. Umar Johnson and millions of black men and women, and I don't know how many whites have this conversation because they get the benefit of white privilege. So why do they need to even have it? But the little, 50% of us who are defined as black, or some define themselves as American, not black, or some define themselves as African American, or some define themselves as Pan-African, all kinds of different variations of it, have these conversations. And it comes right back to the conversation of race and conversation of interracial sex. It comes back to the foundation of just human evolution. Male and female intercourse equals baby. What color is the baby, and what is the mindsets of the baby, and what is the future outcomes of the descendants of those interracial children? And Dr. Umar Johnson was challenged because he boldly stated that if you are African American and you marry a woman that's of European descent, that you are a contradiction because you married outside of your race, and that you will never fully be able to say that you loved your people 100% of your life. And tragically, I agree with that brother's assessment. And of course, the counter comes back with a man who says, well, what about all these great leaders, Sidney Poitier and James Earl Jones, and there's so many that have crossed racial lines and made what we call mulattoes. But the reality is Umar Johnson wrong. And I think he is not wrong. Let's listen to this intelligent man speak, which, my God, my brain loves a man who can communicate.
Angela Yee and Charlemagne the God. During the interview, Johnson talked about a whole range of issues. It led to him being the talk of Black Twitter last week. And a lot of people were questioning his educational credentials.
Now, people ask me, what can we expect from a Donald Trump White House for Black America? And the answer is real simple. You can expect exactly what you got from a Obama White House. Absolutely nothing. Black people know they're not American, but they will fight like hell to protect that identity because they don't want to be identified with who they really are, and that's being African. As long as you have a skill, you can always feed your family. But if all you got is college degrees, you might end up in the unemployment line.
He's 100% right. And this is him pontificating on various topics. And he, in essence, has become the Dr. Cornel West of my generation. 20 years ago was Dr. Cornel West and Henry Louis Gates. Before that, there was other men. All of them were either dead or they're soon to pass on. What this brother said is and has been and will be considered until the next bunch of kids grow up and take over his spot, very profound. But as I have to say in my own retort, what can we really do about it? We Hebrew Israelites under the curse of Deuteronomy 28. This brother doesn't know he's a Hebrew Israelite. This brother serves other gods, Yoruba, gods of voodoo, other faiths. And as a person that has the truth now of who I am and supposed to serve, and not the white European American religion that we are being taught for 300, 400 years here in America, but the true Hebrew Israelite knowledge of the Old Testament. And that's hard because there's a lot of hidden, obfuscated books out there that we don't have. Alexa, play sleep music for 8 hours. Can't stop playing. Alexa, play sleep music for 8 hours. It stopped playing. Sorry, I got 3 Alexas, but it's not picking up my voice. And when he spoke, the first thing that comes back is anger, anger, anger. And when you listen to the black men speak that did the line, he was definitely typical anger. And now over 37,000 people have watched this video on TV One, and it's making TV One lots of money because even today I went on to look at the video and you can see a comment was just added 30 minutes ago. 30 minutes ago. Come on, let's get it from her. 30 minutes ago. And remember, again, if you click on to the top and you got to sort by newest first, and you can see the newest first. Yeah, there it is. Because right now it's doing top comments. So once you click newest, you now get to see. 3 minutes ago, someone just commented it. So what I'm saying is that with YouTube, there's always a new person watching this content today. 15 years from now, people will still be watching this video, and the intelligent debate will continue to go on even as we age because of this amazing technology. And so I'm grateful because now he's got millions of videos on. I don't know how much money he can make, but hopefully they can copyright some of the things. But it's a lot of stuff he's talking about can't really be copyrighted. But I know it gets some speaker fees. I know it will get him access to being sought after. But at the same time, he also is going to be vilified and hated by the white power structure of the United States of America. And just like we had with Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and many of our leaders in the 60s, damn sure they're going to want him to die a horrible death just to discredit who he is. And by him not serving God, the true word of the true God, it's only a miracle if he doesn't somehow pass away within the next 15, 20 years. But remember, in America, you're powerful up until 65. So after 65, he would be like Stokely Carmichael and many of the great men of the 60s that died in obscurity. I was envisioning him to be going to Africa and dying in Africa. I envision him to leave America and die in Africa, which will probably give him more joy than dying here in America, dealing with the crap that we will continue to have to deal with, but due to the Deuteronomy 28 curse that is on us continually due to Yah and us, because it's not just God, but it's God and us that are connected in this. But the great news is, I know the truth. Millions of people are starting to learn the truth, just like people are watching this video learning some things about him. Now, the only bad part about it is you see the homosexual flag that Charlamagne the God, Angela Yee, and all the Breakfast Club are pushing because they pay billions of dollars into their business. And that demonic curse is one big part of the curses that will come on the earth as a whole, because that is demonic. God already has spoken his word about it, and his word will never return back void. So when Roland Martin ends up having this conversation, you hear Roland Martin playing the CNN, Fox, NBC moderator style, but there's a couple of moments where he goes in on Umar, but Umar is so intelligent. And that's the point I want to make sure I document. It's not only what you say, but it's how you say what you say. And that's why I love Eric Mays. That's why I love Umar Johnson and anybody else, because it takes a lot of courage to stand against the norm of white power and speak to them, knowing the consequences that you're going to pay as a damn result of you standing. You gotta, in essence, gotta be like a prophet in the Old Testament. You gotta be willing to die just when no one else will die around you. You gotta be willing to suffer like Paul suffered in chains as a missionary evangelist when the preaching the gospel to the Gentiles, when everyone is going to hate you, when you know you're going to be beaten, you're going to be killed, you're going to fight, you're going to die for this. How many of us can honestly live a life knowing that that's how we're going to die, and that we may be remembered 50, 80, 100, 1,000 years from now, but our death will be a tragic, tragic death? That's hard, man. I mean, you really got to have an encounter and real experience with Yah to experience a stoning like Stephen got in the New Testament by other people throwing rocks and killing him with rocks, and the horrific death and the manner of death, man, it's just ridiculous. And so I don't agree with a lot of things he says, but I agree with a lot of things he says. It's just amazing.
A psychologist. Ain't too many black people running around looking for a psychologist to reveal all the skeletons in their closet.
And a lot of black people major in psychology. We got tons of PhDs with a doctorate in psychology. I want a doctorate in divinity. But I realized psychology, divinity, all that kind of works together. Who really, in lots of, and the answer is very few, really want to go and talk about the curses of their father and their grandfather and their great grandfather, and have to come to the revelation that is Deuteronomy 28 is the root of it, and that goes back thousands of years ago before you even knew, because a lot of us only know maybe our third or fourth ex grandmother or grandfather, but we're talking 1,000x. We're talking 2,000x, or you know what I mean? Because the Earth has been alive a lot longer than 500 years, a lot longer than 5,000 years. Okay, they say the Earth is maybe millions of years. So there's so much that we, in our finite minds, will fully never be able to assess. But one thing I can say is that science and faith are equally important. And I thank God that I live in a time where we use both. Thank you, Lord.
All right, folks, joining us right now, Dr. Umar Johnson. Welcome back to the show. First and foremost, it was amazing looking at this whole reaction. I mean, I'm sitting here, again, people asking all kind of questions, things are blowing up. And so many people jumped on saying he's not a real doctor, okay? Where did you graduate from and you got your PhD?
He is so intelligent. And that's the kind of man I want to be. But he does something that I don't do and won't do. He loves to fight the same way Eric Mays loves to fight. I'm not a person that loves to fight with white people or black people or anybody who disagrees with me. I have a younger brother named Damien. He's the exact same way. Now, I believe in the wolf, the sheep, and the sheepdog. I'm a sheepdog. I want to fight for the sheep. But I'm not just going around looking to find out who's the wolf so I can fight them and kill them. This is what he is. He's that guy that he wants to be the sheepdog, but I don't know if his motive is honest and just. I think it's selfish in some ways. You know, because in essence, I don't see him fully helping the sheep, as the Bible says that we're supposed to be overseers of the sheep. And the Word of God talks about wolves in sheep's clothing, and that we have to watch out for them. I mean, a lot of the things we're talking about is really biblical. But the reality is, when we look at race and racism and prejudice, we got to be very careful not to just focus on the minute or the microeconomic problems, but the macroeconomic or macro religious problems as well. So I think we have the macroeconomic, microeconomic, but we have the macro religious and the micro religious. And you got to be very careful to be able to be in the middle of both, because I can get off into the microeconomic focus or the micro-religious focus of being a Hebrew Israelite, but then how does that affect in the macro-religious world of African Americans, who are only 15% of the population of this United States and the richest, okay, of the entire earth? Think about this. At this moment in history, African American people will be the richest at this moment in history. Probably in the next 100 years, we'll be richer. And should Jesus tarry in the next 500 years, we'll be richer. And if the United States still exists and there's not another nation that takes its place, the black people that will be in that nation will be richer than I will ever be, and people in my generation will ever be. But the reality is that we need Yah to help us get the balance of the micro and macro religious and economic issues that happen in our time. And so to debate the issue of, as you'll see in his blog, his legacy, his 6 degrees, then his connection to Frederick Douglass, then his statement about interracial marriage, because he went on the Breakfast Club and he went from issue to issue to issue to issue. So again, because he's very intelligent. And that's great. And I love it. And I wish we had a lot more men like him. And that's what drives me to make these blogs. It will drive me to write. And God willing, it'll drive me to pay off my debts, get out of bankruptcy, and get that damn PhD. Just so I can be able to die knowing that I, did the fullest of my life journey. That I just wasn't a guy who did the mediocre. And I've always been an average guy. Well, I want this average 2.7 GPA man to get his PhD, showing that average people can do it too. But as I sit back and I think about some of the things, I have to completely say I agree with this man.
My undergraduate education was from Millersville University, 3 degrees, political science, psychology, master's in school psychology. Subsequent to that, Pennsylvania certification as a school psychologist, which I've been for almost 20 years. After that, I got my educational leadership master's degree and principal certificate from Lehigh University in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. And I earned my doctorate degree from the Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine, American Psychological Association approved program.
And basically APA, and these are basically white schools. And so in essence, he's saying I'm on par with white people, because guess what? White people get PhDs in bullshit too. Just like black people get PhDs in bullshit. But, and there's a lot of white PhDs that make only $30,000 a year. Getting a PhD doesn't mean you make $100,000 a year. And we got to be very clear. Because I make $100,000, but you got to be in a job that's valued, that people have to pay you that salary. If there is a mother sucker that can pay me $80 to do the same thing that I'm getting paid $150 to do, they'll pay me $80. So it's, as he stated, it's not about the degrees, it's about the skill. Where did this man get this from? Lots of thinking, lots of analysis, lots of reading, lots of observing the world. And his arguments, I have to admit, are phenomenal. And I have to say, some of his arguments I completely disagree with, and some of his arguments I completely agree with. And looking at it 5 years later, when I watched this 5 years ago, I was scared, I was shocked. I was like, oh, brother, don't say that. Oh. And now 5 years has passed, and I'm like, what he said is nothing compared to what we went through over these past 5 years. And the things that we're going to be going through in 2024, because the issues that Donald Trump brought out is what was happening in the 1920, 1921. And we are still dealing with it 100 years later. The same anger and vitriol that white people had against African Americans, because we tired of you niggers telling us we need to change. F you. I want America great again. I want America white again. I want America back the way we had it when all y'all niggers shut up and we ran y'all and told you what to do. That mindset is in people today, and all of those people that lived 100 years ago are dead. So that only proves that the thoughts and the ideas that people have still get inculcated and passed on forward to the next generations. And so I have to say, after Cornel West, which if you notice, you don't hear nothing from Cornel West today. After Henry Louis Gates, and they're all in their 60s, you don't hear nothing from Henry Louis Gates today. Tavis Smiley, you don't hear nothing from Tavis Smiley today. And the tragedy is that's what's going to end up happening to us. So let's take the most of our time that we have left to speak before we are put to history and the next group of people take over and take the reins or the leadership of the world.
One of the top psychology training programs on the East Coast. 6 degrees in all, and anyone can lift up a telephone and call and verify those degrees.
And he was right. And you can tell as he's speaking, he know everything. He's like gleaming. He's like, I know my ish. I know I passed. I know I got the cert. Now he could be lying, and God will judge him if he is. But I don't think he's lying at that moment. Now there's a couple things he says that I think he could be lying on, as we all have and all can, because I'm a study of body language, and I am I won't say a master, but I'm studying to be a master of truth and lies in reading people. And it is a skill, the same way FBI people do it. We call them profilers and others. It's a psychology. But remember, he studies psychology. So he's a master, or striving to be a master of the same thing I'm striving to be a master of, except the difference is I'm doing it from a religious divinity Hebrew Israelite perspective, and he's doing it from a Yoruba, voodoo, Pan-Africanist perspective, and that the religion of what I believe doesn't fit, because there are so many different religions that our black people were under, which is the root of why God judged us in the first place, that we can't fully prove. We Hebrew Israelites, we tribe of Judah, we part of the 12 tribes of Israel, aka Jacob, and there's so many missing facts that we need to be able to get Holy Spirit to reveal to us to help prove our argument. But until that, I have to live by what we call faith, and that is a belief in something despite the fact you can physically or scientifically prove it 100 or 1,000%. But that's just the way it's got to be.
So when you see folks who question,
We're both the same age, I might add, and I didn't realize it, but we both are the same age group. He's my age, and I didn't realize it, but it kind of revealed to me while I said, damn, Henry, this is the intelligence that you really should have been striving for, but you never saw it. My father wasn't a PhD. My mama wasn't a PhD. My aunts weren't PhDs. My grandparents weren't PhDs. Nobody in my family is really a PhD. And if I'm fortunate to become a PhD, I'd be the first one on both sides of my family to accomplish that feat.
your degrees, your response.
It's because my narrative is a whole lot different from the average mainstream black scholar.
It is. He's completely opposite or antithetical.
I don't parrot the narrative that the American social order wants black scholars to parrot.
As many people, and we call that playing the race card, playing the cool card. We call that going along to get along. There's so many people that have. Cornel West was one of those guys that went against, but he was light skinned and he dressed like Freddie Douglass, but he also had white blood. So he never was fully accepted because your mom and dad intermixed. And whether you can say, well, that happened 1,000 years ago, the question you have to ask is, what color is your grandmama today? What color is your wife today? What color does your son pick tomorrow? What color will your daughter marry tomorrow? These are very valid argument questions to raise.
I tell the truth. I don't scratch unless I itch, and I don't dance unless I like the music. And because they're not used to having someone with a traditional education posit non-traditional views.
Notice he quickly used PhD, Harvard level speech. Posit means argue. Just another huge, big, rich word that you get when you are in higher learning.
People will automatically start to question his credentials. How did he get this far believing what he believes in? Well, you have to play the spook who sat by the door. When I got accepted into...
Now, I did not know that movie until just last year. So when he said that, it flew right past me because I never heard of it. Spook Who Sat by the Door was a 1974 film that my mom should have told me about, and my uncles and all of them that were growing up, but it was a undercover film, and back in those days, there wasn't a YouTube. So there was a lot of films that a lot of blacks that lived during that time never saw. A lot of films that people who lived in Philadelphia saw that people in Florida, Jacksonville, never seen. There's definitely distances in years when it comes to knowledge And like the term says, if you want to hide something, put it in a book. Well, if you want to hide something, put it online or put it under a research paper. There's this meaning that if you don't get access to those opportunities to read the information, Encyclopedia Britannica, for example, in my generation, how you gonna learn? And that's why a lot of us were ignorant and grew up and we were C average students because we were already set up, being that our mama was poor, we gonna be poor. And that's why a lot of us didn't and don't value education to this day because of lack of wealth. Wealth, unfortunately, comes from education. But if you don't get education, you can't get wealth. If you don't get wealth, you can't give your kids a great opportunity to grow and give them the $250,000 over the first 18 years of their life to be able to go into tomorrow's world, to compete and win in the battle for jobs that have yet to be created. But those that got money and because their ancestors had money, to the 20th generation got better opportunities than those whose ancestors to the 20th generation were slaves and didn't have anything. That's the miracle and why I sometimes go, wow, as a black person, knowing that my mom had nothing, my grandmamas had nothing, and that my mom died at the age of 25 when I was 25, and she died at the age of 49. I was doomed to not have anything, and that by the miracle of me meeting Christ at the moment where I had lost everything, my girlfriend, my college degree, put myself in financial debt, supposed to just meet a white woman, have babies, and be a dude right now, 48 years old with a kid that I don't see and that's just as hating my guts the same way I hated my father's guts for a very long time, feeling ashamed as a father who's acted just like his biological father, who he never knew. I'm grateful to say that I'm sitting in this house and I'm having and positing this argument to the audio, and that I don't have that anger and that shame that will cause a heart attack and premature death, because when you got those sins on your life because of actions you made when you were 20, 30, 40, that stuff shortens your lifespan, man. It shortens your heart.
To those three universities, they didn't know what I believed in. They didn't know what I stood for. But as time went on, it revealed itself. But I'm unapologetically African, so I'm not really concerned with what people think about me personally. I have a job to do, and that is to awaken the sleeping consciousness of African people, not just...
That's his argument. That's his why. That is the reason why he is willing to go at it alone, because very few blacks are educated enough to be able to commute. And for those that hate his intelligence or try to say he's not a doctorate, his mouth shows you his brain power the same way the late great Kevin Samuel's mouth showed you his brain power. The difference in the tragedy, and this is the part that I'm coming to and praying for, is Yahshua. Because he doesn't know Christ like I know him from the standpoint of being a Hebrew Israelite, he's under the attack and ability of Satan, and only by the mercy and the prayers of us that he may not be killed before his time, because he has so much of a brain and a lot of books in his head that he can spill. But it's just like our leaders of the past. If they get shot down before their time, all we can do is give them a holiday, but that stops the knowledge growth for the next generation. And that's what we need. We gotta, as I say, do Psalms 91, verse 1 through 16. With long life will I satisfy thee and show thee my salvation, which means I gotta live and make it to 90, to gray hair 90, and have that whole 90 years of walking and teaching the truth and all that information, not dying at 49, not dying at 59, not dying at 69, not dying at 79. Yes, everybody else around me is going to die as I outlive them, but that's the ultimate goal, to outlive them.
just in America, but all across the world.
One of the things that you said during the interview, you said that Mandarin was one of the official languages in South Africa.
Yes, sir.
And others said you were dead wrong.
Yes.
Why would he ask a question about whether Mandarin was an official language? The fact of the matter is, Mandarin, which is a language I studied when I was in college, not knowing that why, but I felt ni hao ma, won hao shi. That's hello, how are you? And I now understand why God gave me the passion for it. And I've never been to China. I don't know if I ever will go in the physical flesh, but I am going to continue to study the language because the future is that we're going to have a war with China. But the other parts of it is China's going to Africa to suck all the minerals from Africa like America did, like everybody else has been doing for the past 300, 400, 500, 1,000 years. And God said in his word that this would occur. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verses 15 through 68. But most people, when they look at Deuteronomy, don't equate it to Africa. But when you look at the massive, huge continent that's bigger than America, bigger than Russia, bigger than China, bigger than pretty much everything north of Africa, you can see why Yah allows them to take all those natural resources. And they are building parts of Nigeria, they're building parts of South Africa, and the Asians have, and they are, because of that language barrier and the power of 1 billion people in their, China area, have a way to keep everything inside of them because they got their language area. It's not like coming to America and having to learn English. You can go to China and learn and not have to learn that language and force those that don't study Mandarin to not know what the hell's going on. And that's why there's a lot of horrific things happen in Africa, and all the rich Africans are running to Europe or running to America, and a few may run to China, but I doubt very seriously you're going to see tons of African people run to China. I don't think China's going to be friendly to African people, not like America would be. And it's not that friendly. So I love how he debates that, and you can see the mental battle. You can see the eye contact. You can see, Roland Martin's elbow up and stuff, acting all proud and all that. And you can see Dr. Umar Johnson's regular, but this is the kind of fight, unfortunately, that only the people that get the PhDs fight. The regular average Joe Black that's uneducated, that's living their life every single day, just barely trying to pay their little bill, making $1,000 a week, will never, ever touch.
Yes, because I didn't clarify that I was speaking of it being an official language in the public school system of South Africa. So I should have clarified that Mandarin is an official language in the Republic of South Africa's school system. It's not an official language in the country. It's an official language in the school system.
Now, why is that important? Well, because the Chinese people are building oil factories to suck the oil from something's going on. One second. Typical argument between somebody that's young, black man talking to his white girlfriend, and I can hear it in the background. 1 second. Huge, two fat black women that are obese as I don't know what. And I mean, they're super obese. And they were walking past my porch. And I mean, when you see a woman that's 5'1", weighing 220 pounds, and a woman that's 5'7", weighing 230 pounds, it only proves the argument that Kevin Samuels talked about And these girls are 5'1" and 5'7", and they're less than 35 years old. Their opportunities of having a baby probably only will happen if they get in vitro fertilization, because the average black man is not gonna want to be with somebody that obese. And these are my black sisters. These are my black sisters. Only in Atlanta do you see this. Because even Oklahoma, praise God, the black women work their ass off to fight that fat. Only here in Atlanta.
And I was speaking of schools, but I didn't clarify that, so that's my responsibility.
Also, during that particular interview, you talked about a variety of issues that also got people talking. One of them dealt with your views on interracial marriage.
Yes, sir.
And so, so explain that for folks who did not hear it.
Now, this is a powerful, simple, common sense truth. But the argument that that Roland Martin's gonna preach is, what about Harry Belafonte? He just died recently. And when Harry Belafonte died, nobody gives Harry Belafonte no clout, because Harry Belafonte was married to a white woman during the civil rights time. And honestly, have you heard anything? And that's why I agree with this brother. Harry Belafonte's kids should be older than me. I'm of course 48. Harry Belafonte's youngest kids should be 55. And that is right at the end of, your life, because 65 years old is a mandatory retirement age, and you're considered old and not really powerful. And America is run by people who are 45 to 55. I haven't heard anybody from Harry Belafonte's penis or his sperm, his descendants from the white women he married, step up and run for office and become in political sphere. Why? Why is that? Because white privilege that came from the white women that he married benefits those kids. Why do they want to rock the boat and fight for blacks when they're half white? Why would I want to fight for blacks when I'm half black? You wouldn't. That's why Barack Obama didn't fight for us when he got in office, because he's half white. Barack Obama was raised by a white woman from Kansas who married people outside the race because she loved the melanin in the Indonesian and the melanin in the African. But realistically, what did it make Obama do other than use it to get ahead? But his mind was still and is European. And even after his presidency, President Obama's will not be considered a person that's going to fight for black people and black rights. He's going to live his life. His kids are going to marry white men. They're going to have white mixed babies. And if you think about Barack Obama's two children, you will never see them in politics running for issues of blacks unless it can benefit them. But why? Because the kids get the benefit of having, yes, a black mama and a mixed breed father. But the thing is, they can always, because they're in the elite, always marry white and lighten their hue, because it pays to do that. It takes knowledge of the Word of God, knowledge that you're a Hebrew Israelite, and that religious biblical framework to make you decide to go against what the world that owns America now, the Europeans, to just marry outside your race. So when he says these truths right here, as hard as I feel, it's the reason why my relationship with Marianne Tiger, a white woman, failed. It was the reason why all of my relationships with white women will fail, and why I can't touch those white people.
Certainly. Simply put, any black man who is with a woman who's not an African herself is going to have a difficult time getting respect from me. I believe black men need to be with black women. The black family is under attack. Only 1 out of every 4 black women gets married.
Notice when he throws those statistics out there, notice that Roland Martin does not even address the stats. He does the same stupid shit that everyone else does. Well, how dare you say blacks and whites can't get together? Are you saying this? And remember, anytime a man answers or a woman answers a posit or a intellectual, and we call this in logical words, a premise and conclusion, a fact pattern. When the brother gives out the fact pattern, 26% of black women are not going to be married in their lifetime. And we got many more facts to give. You notice what the other person does. They ask a question that is so weak and off target. Are you saying Harry Belafonte is not, do not care? What? The argument is not about the past, it's about the present. And that's what he was doing. He was saying, these are the issues. The statistics prove it. We're 15% of the population. We've got to help the next generation. I don't give a damn about Harry Belafonte. I don't give a damn about Sidney Poitier. They're dead. Their life is over. Their children is not doing anything for the black people. I don't give a damn about them. What I care about is what it does and affects the people that are in the trenches right now. How does it affect those 2 black women that walk past my apartment obese? Why? Because they're hating themselves and food is a comfort. So instead of me not knowing I'm never going to get married, but I always get that candy bar. I always get that piece of chocolate. I always get those chicken wings. And I can go to my house right now and I can eat in my bedroom alone and eat to my fucking heart's content. And no one's going to say shit to me in my face, but they'll talk about me behind my back. That's why we have such an obesity problem. And until we really get to the point of dealing with the issue, I'm obese because I hate myself because I am poor. And the only way and because I'm poor, I can't go out and meet people, but I can do one thing. I can get chicken wings at McDonald's for $99 or $2.99. And if that gives me joy, then damn it, I'm getting those chicken wings. And millions of women and men are obese because of that mindset. That is wrong. It's so funny. The 2 black women I was just talking about just walked back across I have an apartment right next to the beautiful pool, and it's perfect summer months. The pool just opened a couple of days ago, and for until October, I get to work out and lose weight in that pool. And I plan to go to that pool and work out and lose weight because I can't afford to go to LA Fitness. The LA Fitness pool is a nice pool, but shit, why can't I use the one I'm paying, $600 a month for in this apartment complex?
The black woman is last likely to get married. She's the last married, the first divorced. We have 2/3 of our children being raised by working class and impoverished single black female-led households. The destruction of a nation begins in the home of its families. And if we want to save black people, we have to save the black family.
And this all started in 1960. So watch the ignorance of Roland Martin. Instead of dealing with the arguments he just raised, and have an intelligent argument, he knew exactly what he wanted. And the whole damn show was a farce. That's why I don't listen to Roland Martin and a lot of men like this. They only wanted clickbait arguments. They just want to attack him on issues and not deal with the actual fact pattern he raised. But intelligent mind will get into the boring fact pattern because that's how you help our people. That is the way it's supposed to be. And that's what my passion is for.
In order to do that, black men have to commit themselves to black women.
So when you talk about not getting...
And black women must commit themselves to black men. Now, that's the only thing that I disagree with is that he doesn't talk about the black women that don't want black men unless they got A, B, C, D, F, G, H. So the two black girls that just walked past my home that are literally, I'm talking, I got a 46-inch waist. They probably got 50-inch and 55-inch waist, dog. And I'm serious. Huge. I mean, it's despicable. Have been told that we have what's called body positivity. And in the ignorance of it, as I'll play this one little set scene here where you'll hear this black man say on TV such a profound truth that the ignorant black woman, the only thing she could say is that, how dare you, because there's a bunch of bull crap coming on against black men. But the bull crap has been going against black men since the 1960s. I think it really before it, but it really been going on way before 1960. But when it comes down to us and those who are alive like us today, the bull crap is profound. Let's wait for this to pass. Give it about 10 seconds. I'm gonna give you 2 commercials. Let's see if I skip the ad and see if it'll let me skip it. All right, right to about right here. I want you to listen to this. This brother, he is so intelligent, and I want you to hear him talk. And look at I'm so glad you catch your face because this
be 5'4". Do they care about
What does that have to do
ostracizing all of those
with
men?
anything?
If a fat man is sitting here, he can be a fat man, right? But if a fat woman is sitting here, you would say, "Oh no, we're body positive." Oh no, we can't say that. We can't. It's all about picking her up. So every time it's saying something for a man,
Bro,
it's down.
Now notice the black sister tries to say bro, cause I'm black. And he showed the double standard. He showed in the black poor community, the 20 million black females considered black, the 7.4% of America, and the 20 million black men are considered black. He said if a black man is fat, that's me, I will be called fat. That's what I've been called. But I just saw 2 obese black women walk past me that are obese. I'm talking one girl is probably 5'7". She looked like she about 230. The other woman is about 5'1", looked like she about 190. Kevin Samuels brought out in his wonderful, eloquent, powerful videos, and every woman he calls, he asks those same standard questions. What's your weight? What's your height? And he knows because he studied, and I'm doing it as well, we call image consulting. He knows right off the top what is healthy and what's not healthy. And what he used to say was that a woman that is 5'4", which is the average height for all women across the world, that they should weigh less than 135 pounds. If you're 5'1", which my mom was, well, she weighed probably 150, and she died of diabetes at the age of 49. So it proves the argument that short people that are overweight have a lower lifespan, and that motivates me because I realize that I'm no different. And if I don't deal with these issues, I won't live a long life. But the other side of that coin is nobody really told my mom to her face, you're fat, you need to go to the gym, you need to put your weight and your body first. But how when you got 2 kids, a job, and nobody to help you financially? And people are never going to say that to mom or any black woman. Why? Because if they don't got the finance to give to help that woman do the things she need to do, then what the hell can they, what difference does it make what they say? And that's a good point. But I have the ability to help myself, and I'm going to do the things I can to help me and make this blog in order to first help me. And by doing that, it'll help someone else look at themselves, judge themselves, become retrospective or reflective, or introspective is what I meant to say, introspective, and work on themselves. And that's the biggest thing.
You got a lot on your back.
No, he don't. He was 100% right. He told this 48-year-old woman right here who's already wrinkled that you're 100% right. It's a double damn standard. Black women, and it all started with way back in the day with a fat black woman, and her name was Monique. And she pushed this body positivity crap way back in the 90s. Big girls need love too. Big girls, fat girls need love too. At the same time, white women were going to the gym, working out, keeping their butt in shape, flat ass. And we always would say that a white woman has a flat butt. What has happened in the past 25 years? We have liposuction now. They always had it, but it was always to suck fat out of the stomach. Now it's reversed. Because of the Brazilian girls putting it in their butt, the white girls say, I gotta have it too. So now the white girls are putting fat in their butt to get the perfect derrieres so that they can be able to attract black men. Because the white men always wanted flat butts. White men don't want a big butt. They hate it. Why? Because they got a small penis. But while black women and other races of women want black men, they don't want black women. And black women has always had the nice ass, beautiful ass. But now the black women are the beasts. The black women are the women I'm talking about that are the 200 pounders. So the ass is gone. So now what does the black man do? Does he accept the overweight girl like in this show right here? When the girl says this statement is, and I want you to hear closely what this—
My dad was—
asshole, excuse my French. I hit the wrong damn button.
You may have maturity. I felt like you don't have authority. You have a responsibility, but no authority. That's what I feel.
Well, those are some strong words. But Joya,
Yes.
you didn't ask for another date with him. What was the turnoff?
Specifically, the turnoff was when I asked that
finna make up
question
something right now.
about would you date a single mother? And Jacoby, you proceeded to tell me that basically you're a high-value man and you are too good for a single mother. How?
Yeah, I'm right. I am one too. I'm too good for a single mother. I'm too good for a woman that's got definitely has got a lot of relationship damage, that's got a lot of relationship trauma. I don't deserve and will not deserve a woman that has a lot of trauma. I will not deserve to date a woman that literally doesn't do her work on her emotional self. I saw a video earlier today and I recorded it, and I'm going to definitely record it again. And it was talking about what is a low value woman, and it was from a white program, and it had a white speaker, and they named like 10 different issues that makes a woman a low value. And I realized that everything Kevin Samuels had been saying was from a white person. That the whole black manosphere is 10 to 15, 20 years behind white manosphere. Why would I not? I mean, the world of the United States of America was built by white men. So why the hell would we as blacks that have been slaves for 350 years be thinking we on their level? Come on, use common sense. And so now that I realize I know where to go study to get the knowledge, I realize Kevin Samuels, thank you, is now the start of my journey, but he ain't the end of my journey. There's still more knowledge to gain. There's still more information to get so I can be the Kevin Samuels 2.0, 5.0, 10.0 that I want to be. This brother is so profound, but I know, like a lot of young men, he knows that the mom was broken and he loved his mom, and that's what he's thinking about right now. He's thinking about his tragic mom who's probably single and who's going to die alone, as Kevin Samuels said. And he's thinking about the anger that she's going to feel by him saying that he don't want to marry a person like his mom. And that's what the black woman is saying. How dare you say you don't want you don't want all single moms. In essence, you're disrespecting your mom, and he is, and I am, and we are. And that's something that's hard as hell for a black man to say, that you don't like your mom for what she did. But we have to do it. We have to charge up our parents. I don't like my father what he did. I charge him up too. But in the black community, it always has been, love your mom despite the shit she's done. And that's wrong.
However, you did also tell me that you were raised by a single mother, which is profound for me to think that
Of course it
a
is.
single mother's not good enough for you.
Did you catch the look away? every human being, the lie happens. I'm gonna show you the look away. I'm gonna pause right to the moment you catch the lie. Watch this. She goes, right after she says the word, "It's profound to me." I want you to watch your eyes.
For me to think
Right there. Right there. Almost caught it. That's called the look away. Let's go back and watch it again.
you were raised by a single mother.
Watch.
It's just profound for me to think
Right there. That's the lie. That's the lie. I'm glad that we can do this with frames now. The lookaways, whenever somebody is talking and they're making a point, and thank God we have cameras, so we can always go back and watch it. Right at the point they get ready to say a comment that they know that they don't really fully believe in, and then also a comment, and there's multiple things that I'm about to say, but these are very true in most of the situations, not every, but most. Whenever a person says something that they're either lying, not completely telling all the truth, which is lying, or they know they're going to say something that's going to offend, the eye does, or the body does, 2 or 3 things. Experts that are skilled in this, they can fight it. But the 99% of people who don't study lies and study how to lie, because it's really what it's called, and these are what politicians do, and that's why people hate politicians, because they can look at you in your face and lie right at you. Most people can't do that because they haven't desensitized their heart to be so cold that they can do it. We have a heart that if we lying or not saying something that we know the other person is gonna not like, our body gives us away. So right there, she looks away and it's caught but it's only a millisecond. And then after that, she comes back and changes her head. That moment right there, it happens to 99.9% of us in every conversation where a person's gonna say something they know is gonna offend us, or they're gonna say something that they don't necessarily, they're gonna either say something they don't agree with, they know you don't agree. It's so many things they're gonna lie. It's very, very important to watch. And so at this very moment, she's like, it's profound that you would, quote unquote, not date a single parent because you were raised by one. You should have compassion for us. You should put us on a pedestal. Look at what your mama did for you. So if your mama can do that for you, then what's wrong with dating a single mom? But here's the catch. You don't understand what he went through as a boy growing up into being a man. And that girl will never know because everybody's situation is different. And also, she's coming only from the female vagina perspective. She can never understand that masculine penis perspective. And that's what that brother is explaining to her, the male penis perspective.
a single mother's not good enough for you, but it's good enough for a woman to raise you.
That's
not
unfair. Connected.
And it's very insensitive.
They're not connected. One is caused by her decision not to be walking with her man and dating the wrong guy and getting pregnant, and probably in most cases not even being married to the guy. It was just a The other is her being the mama being responsible enough to at least take care of the child that she allowed herself to be impregnated with. They're not caused. It's not, one doesn't cause the other. And this is what she's trying to say. Her desire to take care of me as a mom that had decided to get pregnant because she was taking a pill and being in a relationship with a man that she probably loved but didn't love her should make me be more compassionate for other black single parent women that went through the same shit. That's what she's saying.
Some women out there who have children.
All right, so just because it's a cycle, I wanted to continue.
Now that hits hard right there. When he pulls out the cycle, only intelligent minds recognize there's a problem. To say the word cycle means you stating that this is an issue that's been, Monahan report proves it though. Going back to the 60s proves it. It's a white man named Monahan who wrote a report about black race and white race, and he said they're two different worlds. I mean, duh, we were slaves. But to have a white man put in a book is, and now we got, that was in the 60s, so that was 50 years ago. we got this being said, which is true. It's a cycle, and does he want to repeat that cycle? No.
It doesn't have to continue.
So what I'm saying is that
it's more about why would you cut off and say that single women are not on the same level?
What you're supposed to learn from is history.
Then he hits again. What you're supposed to learn from is history. So what he's saying to black men, if that woman's pregnant and she doesn't learn from her past, then something's wrong with black women. And because black women aren't learning from their past, this black man is saying, I'm not dating no single black mamas. Ever. And he's saying, and this is where it gets deep, I'm going to, as an intelligent man, break the cycle by not dating a woman with child. I'm going to build my own nuclear family with someone. And he could still end up divorced. He can still end up making his wife a single baby mama, but that's on him. But at least he ain't starting with a ready-made family. That was the mistake I did. I was the guy that met a girl named Denise Von Gordy in the second year of my college, fell in love with her because she was a single mama looking for a man to be a stepdaddy. I didn't recognize that at the time, but that's exactly what she was looking for. And I realized after I met other vaginas that I wanted to have sex with other women. And when I told her I loved her, she thought this was going to be my future husband. And then what I ended up doing is showing, because it's going to happen when you're young like me and hadn't had sex and hadn't been in a real sexual relationship as a financially stable black man. And she wasn't stable. She did not, as you see, what she did only proved it. A stable black woman would have done everything in her power to go to college and get educated, despite me cheating on her. A stable black woman would not have committed murder of her own baby at 4 years of age, right after the argument we had and where she accused me of cheating on her, which was true. So right then and there, 2 + 2 don't equal 4, but there was something wrong with her that I didn't recognize, and that's why I'm grateful that she did what she did, because it may have happened 10 years later after getting married. There was just, unfortunately, a problem in that woman's heart that as a person that was ignorant of psychology and analysis of women and vetting that woman and vetting her mama and vetting her dad and vetting her grandparents, you weren't able to discern, because you didn't live in that town, you weren't raised with her, you weren't able to figure out she got some issues. And there's a lot of black men and women that get together with people that have some issues, and you as a boyfriend or girlfriend can't fix their issues. They must fix their own issues.
So you're a very intelligent
woman.
You're a very intelligent woman, right?
Yes.
So if you know, as a woman growing up, you know it's the less likelihood for you to be successful by having a child. So what you do, you be more proactive.
And that's called Norplan. Now that is an intelligent black man. That's why he's touched the world. Because not only did he come at her from the standpoint of, and it is judging. He's judging. But he's judging, understanding that I'm helping, and a lot of black women probably angry as fuck right now, right? Especially the single mamas. Well, that ain't me. Yeah, that ain't me. Well, if the shoe fits, wear it. But what he's talking to is to the women that don't have kids, the women that are having sex, and telling them, you better not get pregnant. Because if you get pregnant, you ain't getting married. And that is great. If we can help these black girls who are having sex right now with the dude that they know they shouldn't be with, but they love having intercourse with, if we can help prevent them from getting pregnant and having a child that they abort or have to take care of for 18 years, that turns out to be a brother like this cat hating life because he hated his mama being a damn baby mama, we've won.
using condoms.
What's that got to do
You
with
making
your
sure that you,
choice?
okay, if you're getting pregnant, then all right, cool. Maybe I shouldn't continue having this child because I'm not getting married. A better chance of me having a successful life.
You're speaking
by
of
finding a
me.
man. That's what I'm
Excuse me.
thinking.
So you were raised by a single mother.
Yes, and
Was your
I
mother still
struggled.
alive?
I struggled. My mom's still
Did
alive.
she struggle or did you struggle?
We both
Both of us
struggle.
struggled.
Okay, so your words that echoed all around social media, and I want to make sure that we have this clearly.
Good.
I'm a high-value man. I've done things to step up my echelon, and I'm not going to settle.
Thank you. And I'm so glad. And I love this catch. And because this shows that she's a low-value woman. This shows that she don't have her stuff together. And I'm so glad I caught the frame at that moment. Because the fake lashes and the fake weave and the tied in the back realized who this woman really is a short-haired black woman, like most of us, an average black woman, without all the crap you buy for this show. And she is a mama struggling to raise that child. And God bless her. I pray she don't got 2 kids. I'm gonna watch the show because I bet she got. We're gonna find out who that woman is.
For a single mother.
Yeah,
Did I have
sure.
that correctly? I want to be clear.
Yeah, we resell it.
Right. So
I love how he said it. I want to make sure I'm right. I got that clear. He said, "You'll be stellar." I said to myself, "Damn, stellar." I've never heard the word used in that phrase. But to say stellar means outstanding, amazing, beyond comparison. And so what he's saying is that what you're saying is your agreement with me is the saying that you are stellar. Your agreement is outstanding. It's so profoundly deep that it doesn't offend, like somebody could use much big words like pontification, but it hits on the same level without hitting on the level. Word of English is something else, my God.
what makes you think you're a high-value man? The car you drive?
Yes.
Now, the value I put out into the world.
Now where he gets that, I don't know what he does because he don't look old enough to be a CEO of anybody. So what value does he put out in the world? You know where the questions were gonna go. What exactly, and this way you gotta be very careful. You have got to do your homework when you go into these realms. Because they're gonna ask you, what value do you put out into the world? What do you do that brings value? And if you don't have that, then boom, they got you.
What about your character?
I have great character. I built myself to basically have better choices. You want to know why?
Now that's heavy. Notice her face. Notice the difference from the beginning of the 20-second dialogue to this. Notice that she ain't looking at the dude that's to her right. She looking at the dude that she wish she could have got with. This the face of a black sister that realized this dude is high value. And why is he high value? Because he knows how to communicate. He a little bit shy, but when it comes out, it comes out. And that's why the other black lady is going to say, your sum is 0. Because when he gets to the point where he is fucking bold, that guy will have so many women running after his penis. But he's got to live up. It's the key. He's got to live up to what he's saying. And there's a lot of men that can throw that out there, 6'2", tall, because look what Kevin Samuels happened to him. He threw out high value all day, right? But what did God allow to happen? Him die at 52. That's not right. He should not have died. But I think he died because his motives were not 100% right. We gotta have the right motives. We can't be throwing these things out only so that we can get better pussy. We got to recognize that our heart has got to be not about who we sleep with, not about who we sleep with, but about our people as a whole, as a whole, as a whole, as a whole. And that's what my heart's about. Because it's so easy to just get off into, if I say these words, because a lot of people, as I hit that button, let me make sure I turn this, but a lot of people like me, we are average. We didn't have the great choices of selecting great women. I know I didn't.
Because women can choose and make a choice.
They can.
They can say, I don't want to date a man that makes
They
less than
can.
6 figures.
They can.
And then what are you doing? You're
But we're not
demeaning a man.
talking about that.
Women
That's
can
not
talk
the
about
situation at
What I
hand.
want
Listen,
to
hold
be
on.
That's not the
clear.
A woman can say, I
conversation.
want to date a man less than 5'8", and the man could be 5'4". Do they care about
What does that have to do
ostracizing all of those
with
men?
anything?
If a fat man is sitting here, he can be a fat man, right? But if a fat woman is sitting here, you would say, oh no, we're body positive. Oh, no, we can't say that. We can't. It's all about picking her up. So every time it's saying something for a man,
Bro,
it's down.
You got a lot on your back.
Yeah,
okay? So what I
I'm just
want to be
being- I'm just saying
clear,
equal
not
rights.
just for you, but for everybody out there, is the car you drive, your resume, your bank account, your accolades is not what makes you a high-value man.
Definitely not.
We are all defined by the sum of our deeds and our character, and you, brother, are coming up to the sum of 0. Be clear.
Amen.
There are more ways to watch OWN now than ever before. For more information, go to findown.tv.
So this little series, Put a Ring on It, it's a flaw. It's a farce. OWN can only do it because the white people were never going to do it because they already have the Bachelor and the Bachelorette, which is always going to be for their race. But the OWN, owned by white people as well, did it because Iyanla Fix My Life was one of the first shows that did it when OWN. OWN started right after Oprah Winfrey retired, and it almost failed, but Iyanla Fix My Life kind of kept it going. But when you look at the photos and you see the BS, you realize, man, how true. Prime example here. Overweight women, and they're always going to get penises, right? Because there's always a guy that's willing to have sex with a woman. I want to show you what I mean as you watch this video again, okay? And I want you to watch closely the video as I show you something, okay? There's 3 different men.
New to Chewy.
Sorry about that. Get this damn commercial out of the way. 3 men in the room, but I want you to know where the focus goes. Number 1, this black guy. He, didn't have anything. Again, this is episodes, so you got to watch the whole season to get all the different storylines. But, I mean, other than having great looks, he didn't seem like he had a mindset to say anything that was heavy, okay? The other guy is over here to the right. He's slim as well. He didn't really have anything to say. Again, both of these black men could get vaginas because women will give their vagina up. There's another black sister over here. I don't know why she is in the picture. I haven't watched the full show, so I don't know. But the guy that's here ends up taking the whole shine. And as you look at the little photo here, you look at the mark of OWN, they show a sign of an angry, and it's obviously an angry black woman. And when you go down to the bottom, this came out now 2 weeks ago, and it says Jacoby is on fire defending his point of view no matter what, and I salute him because he defended it so well. After calling Joshua out for not having any authority in his relationship, he goes on to address his claim that high-value men deserves to have high standards in dating. Damn right he does. All right, so I've looked up this lady, Stacey J. Johnson. She's not really no expert. She just got a PhD. And really, her PhD is in gender, black female studies, so that's not really helping us. She's not on the side of men, I'll tell you that. And I hate to say it, and odds are she probably got a dude that follows her. So now it jumps and skips to Oprah Winfrey talking about her BS. So then we get into the comments. And so they pinned the one from 12 days ago, and it's basically watch more OWN shows because that's how they make their money off of what we call watch hours. So the more I watch this, the more I'm paying them. But that's okay. I'm going to download this and save it to my own channel so I can watch it in my own house. But look, I love these comments. And look at this beautiful comment. Thank you. It's time for black men to stand up. No more of this filth in our communities. End this nonsense now and forever. It's over. We're not going to save our children like this. Stop the irresponsible sexual activity. I salute you. And I completely salute you. And as a pastor and as a man of God, that is exactly how I agree. It's how refreshing is this comment section. I thought it'd been delusion down here. Amen, bro. And we all did, brother. We all did. We all did, brother. We all did. But I am so proud. And this is going to be shocking the world. Amen.
Why would you cut off and say that single women are not on the same level?
What you're supposed to learn from is history. So you're a very
What's that got
intelligent woman.
what's that got to do
You're a
with
very
it?
intelligent woman. You're a very intelligent woman, right?
Yes.
So if you know, as a woman growing up, you know it's the less likelihood for you to be successful by having a child. So what you do, you be more proactive.
Now, I have to rewatch this over and over again. Why? Because he could have went down a whole different path of this. He goes down the path of challenging black women to put Norplant in their body to prevent themselves conceiving. I love it. Because very few men would ever challenge a woman of baby-making years not to get a baby until they get married. But here's the reality of why he's saying. If 26, this is the other part of it. Listen. If 26% of, God, Holy Spirit, I'm hearing this. If 26% of black women will get married in their lifetime, that means 26% of black women should have babies, based upon this brother's argument, right? You don't have a baby unless you're married. Well, if you're not married, you don't have a baby. But if you're not married and never gonna be married, should you have a baby? And there are millions of black women will say, yeah, why can't I have a baby? And there it is. There it is. That's the problem right there. Women believe that because they're women, they have the right to have a child, meaning they have the right to take your sperm and allow themselves to be pregnant when they want to. And we men want to be in their vagina without a condom for facts. Every man wants to ejaculate in a vagina. That's the way God made man and women to be together. But I don't think God made man and women to be in a situation today where black men and black women can't get together, and only 26% of black men and black women in America are married, but they're having sex, of course. So therefore, a baby is simply conceived because the woman decided today I ain't taking the pill, or just decided never to take one, period, or just decided, well, I ain't gonna do. I want to have lots of sex. I am very sexually active, but I'll just have an abortion, right? And that's where the Roe v. Wade argument had been pushed over since the 1970s. Now that Roe v. Wade has been disbanded, hallelujah, the argument now comes back to the black female. Why are you getting pregnant? See, it wasn't there 20 years ago. It wasn't there 30 years ago. It wasn't there 40 years ago. It's there now. And what they want to try to do is bring Roe v. Wade back. We're not going to let it happen. I'm a evangelical left, and I'm gonna fight against any liberal Ashkenaz bull crap that they try to push against us. I'm gonna fight against it. What a powerful point, brother.
Using condoms.
What's that got to do
Making
with
sure
your
that you,
choice?
okay, if you get.
And that's what this is the other side we gotta put. He's saying, I'm gonna make sure I wear a condom. Well, how many black men, this is where it gets really deep, the more you think about it. How many black men want to be raw inside the ussy? Tons. It does not feel good being inside a vagina with a condom on. But we can't trust a woman to be on Norplant. So you gotta put a condom on, which means that in most cases you're not gonna have orgasm because the condoms, they're not tight enough and they're not sensitive enough for you to be able to be aroused by her walls. So her friction that comes from her lips of her vagina walls doesn't give you the ability to have the orgasm, because unless you got a very thin condom, which means that it can break, which means if she ain't on the pill, that means sperm gets to her ovaries and she's pregnant. Now we're back to square zero again.
Getting pregnant, then all right, cool. Maybe I shouldn't continue having this child because I'm not.
Now that part right there, that's the part that you, and this is great to see the black guy, because this is what the black female and the whole Roe v. Wade, this is why I didn't really hit until just now. White women have been having abortions, and they always have more abortions because they're the majority of the United States. But black women have been having abortions too. Why do you think we've been 15% of the population since 1960s? For the last 50 years, our numbers have not grown exponentially at all. That's fucked up. Why? Abortion. Abortion. Because women and men are having sex. That's a fact. It's because of abortion, murder. But when you hear a black man tell a black woman to have an abortion in broad daylight, how many of us black men would tell our girls to have an abortion? But the other side of that coin is, girl will say, well, have you told a girl to get an abortion? You see where it can go. You know where a woman would go. Have you told any of your ex-girlfriends to have an abortion? And he better not lie. Because if he say no and then one of his ex-girlfriends say you did, oh, he's nice, he's destroyed. Because you just lied. So it's just, so in there, when you do this deep, honest, brash truth, you got to make sure you honest about your past. Because if you've lied, it's going to come back to haunt you.
I'm not getting married. A better chance of me having a successful life.
So now we know what's going to come. Shame, guilt, insults need to be right. And you know, you couldn't get it up anyway, or no woman wanted you anyway, or the women do the shame, insults need to be right. But to tell a woman to have an abortion, first and foremost, you know how women get about that. It's my body, my choice.
Excuse me. So you were raised by a single mother?
Yes. And
Is your mother still alive?
I struggled. My mom's still alive.
Did she struggle or did you struggle?
Both of us struggled.
Intelligent mind there, bro. He caught the trick question and won that battle.
Okay, so your words that echoed all around social media, and I want to make sure that we have this clearly, were, I'm a high-value man. I've done things to step up my echelon, and I'm not going to settle.
Now, she threw that out there as a rank. She thought, I'm acting all bad, but that actually made him sound better. Because that's exactly what we men are saying. I am a high-value man. I have raised my echelon, and I am not going to settle for a baby with a mother with children. And there are a lot of women out there that's going to be angry as F. I know a woman right now, Davisha Davis. Her name was Davisha something else when I met her in college. Beautiful black sister. She was Sigma Gamma Rho. Became a military officer, served her country. Got with one person, got pregnant, didn't marry the guy. I meet her years later on Facebook, right? She's dating somebody else. 2 years into, I guess, the dating. Another man proposes to her and they're getting married, and she says, I'm going to have a baby, like right after. So in essence, her argument was, I want to have a child with this other guy to lock him in. So she now has a baby with the second guy and also as a child with the first guy. So now that means a woman's got two men in her life that she got to deal with for the rest of her life. what do you think the probability of that second relationship being fucked up? Because there's some issues that I know she ain't resolved, because millions of black women and white women, and definitely black women, don't really talk about when they're in a relationship with a new man. They're just almost like, well, my daughter is my responsibility. Guys, like, I'm not gonna mess with your daughter. I just want your vagina. But then they don't think about when that daughter turns 18. They don't think about when that daughter starts having sexual relationships and the impacts of what's going to be on that daughter, because that daughter didn't really have her biological father in her life, and that the stepfather can't necessarily be the biological father. Never. I mean, even though we try, we can never be.
For a single mother. Did I have that correctly? I want to be clear.
Yeah,
Big eyelashes.
Right.
Think it was funny.
So, what makes you think you're a high-value man? The car you drive?
Now, the problem is she's in her 40s, and he don't really. And again, 20-year-old that has this beautiful wisdom is not going to speak to a 40-year-old, because we've been taught to deify our black women. But if he was my age, he better speak with some boldness. If you're 48, you better start speaking. If you're 48 years old and you don't understand what this brother's saying, there's something wrong with you as a man. It's past same time wrong, coming live and direct, man. This is so good.